Do the rich pay their fair share? Well, here's a chart that I came across that I thought was actually pretty telling. And what it shows us is that the top 1%, those making over about $700,000 a year, their share of all the income earned is 26%. But their share of all the taxes paid is 46%. Is that fair? They're paying close to half the freight for all of us when they're making about a quarter of the income. Go down a little bit, between 2 and 5%. They're somewhere between $250,000 a year to about $700,000 a year. Folks that are making that, they're doing very, very well. They're making 16% of the total income earned, but they're paying 20% of the taxes. Is that fair? How about let's get a little more nuanced. The people making 175 to about 250, and that's a big chunk. That's that middle class, right? That upper middle class, the top 5 to 10%. They're making about 11% of the income, and they're only paying 10% of the taxes as a group. Then you go to the top 10% to 25%. That this is right around the average, right? $96,000 of household income, right? But to 175. And that's that sweet spot, by the way, where you're really, this is actually a great place to be if you're a taxpayer because you're not getting killed in taxes. Well, you're making 19% of the income, but you're only paying 13% of the taxes. And then you get down to where, let's just say, now we're into the bottom half, about a quarter of it, the 25% to 50%, people making about 50 grand a year to 100 grand a year. Their share of all the income is 18%, but their share of all the taxes paid is 8%. And then, of course, you get to the bottom, 25% making less than $50,000 a year or so. It's about 10% of all the income earned by that bottom 50%. Their share of the taxes paid is about 2%. It's a pretty small amount, right? So that's where you get this weird class warfare that we have, but the facts generally set us free. We should be very thankful, and all of us should be trying to get into that top 1%, top 10%, because it allows us to pay a little bit more in tax, which is great, but we don't need to gouge the heck out of them. And all these people that are screaming about, let's tax the heck out of the rich, they're already paying more than their fair share in many accounts. Like, it's up to you as to what you think is fair. I think it's very subjective. But when you look at it, you say you're making 26% of the income and paying 46% of the taxes. Anyway, if you like these types of reaction videos, like and subscribe. I'm a tax attorney, usually dishing out tax advice, but wanted to do a change of pace today.